What's good, guys? It's your boy Sai, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I got my sister here for like 3 videos in a row. They're all gonna go up probably like around the same couple of days, so it's gonna be consistent. But guys, today we are watching. Today we are watching 3 Chilling True Horror Stories animated by MJV Animations. This came out 7 days ago. 121,000 views in 7 days is banging. You know it's gonna be a good video. Views are popping. Yo, let's get into it.
This happened in the fall of 1993 when I was 20 years old. In the interest of context, this was before I started college and I was working in the material prep department of a plastics factory on the night shift. I was the only woman in the department and my male coworkers were initially skeptical that I could handle the job, but I proved myself and earned their respect. It was hard work, but on the plus side, it was also putting me in the best shape of my life. It was also about this time that I dumped my abusive boyfriend. He was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive to me, as well as an alcoholic. This fact, more than anything, is probably why I got myself into this situation in the first place. I had just gotten off of work and it was about 1:30 a.m. My car was running on fumes, so I stopped at a local gas station to fill up. While I was pumping gas, a woman about my age approached me looking nervous and scared. She said that she had been in her boyfriend's house and they had a fight. She walked to the gas station to use the payphone and call a friend to pick her up. On her way to the station, a car pulled up as she was walking and the guys inside started catcalling and harassing her. With a slight movement of her head, she indicated a car that was parked off to the side by the gas station dumpsters. I saw a large light green car, like a Caddy or a Lincoln, with at least 2 or 3 shadowy figures inside. She said they threatened her and she was too scared to call her friend and wait. The woman was neat, well dressed, and didn't seem high or drunk or anything like that. She just seemed really nervous and freaked out, so I didn't even hesitate. I finished pumping my gas and told her to hop in the car, that I'd take her home. At that time on a weeknight, there was little...
That's tough, because it's like, how do you know she's not fucking with you and like, you know, trying to like kidnap you in some way or like do something to you, you know? I think I take the risk. If she's like a 6 out of 10 or up, you know? I was a little concerned at first, thinking like, why is she using the payphone? Why does she have a phone? But then I remember they said it was like 19 something. Like the year was like 19 something. Yeah, 1900, like in the late 1900s. Like so 19 something. I forgot what it was. So like it kind of made a little more sense. Like phones weren't as common.
traffic, so I booked it right out of the gas station and asked where she lived. She kept twisting around in the seat to see if the car was behind us, and when I asked her to put her seatbelt on, she ignored me and kept looking for the car. I assumed that she was just scared. A few blocks down the road, however, I noticed she was looking around the car and she started asking me about money. Where's your purse? Where's your bag? I need money. You need to give me some money. My stomach sank. I have this woman in my car and now she's going to rob me. Dang. But when I thought about it, robbery just didn't make much sense. I was driving a 1985 Chevette, affectionately nicknamed Shitbox, and was wearing my work clothes, a ratty t-shirt and jeans with combat boots. I did not look like a person with a lot of cash, primarily because I wasn't a person with a lot of cash. She twisted around in the seat again and started yelling, "There they are, there they are." She didn't sound scared anymore. I checked the rear view and sure enough, the light green car is right behind me. She started cackling and bouncing up and down in the seat. "My boys are going to mess you up, bitch.
What?
You're done." She's laughing like crazy, opening the glove box, looking in the back for a bag or purse, and telling me all the messed up shit these guys are planning to do. Now, if I'd been smart, I would have just driven to the police station. Actually, if I'd been very smart, I would have called the cops from the gas station and waited with her until they arrived. That would have been the intelligent thing to do. Unfortunately, none of this crossed my mind until later. In the moment, I just got really angry. I realized 3 things all at once. There was an intersection up ahead with cars on either side waiting to cross, and the light had just turned yellow. I had a spare box cutter that I kept for work in the driver's side door compartment. The crazy psycho next to me hadn't put on her seatbelt yet either. I didn't think. I floored it and passed under the yellow light just as it turned red. I glanced back to see if the green car was still behind me, but the cross traffic at the intersection had started to move, and they hadn't caught up. This crazy woman started yelling. I slammed on the brakes and she hit the dash and windshield with a solid and viciously satisfying crack. When she rebounded to the passenger seat, I had the box cutter in her face and was screaming some pretty crazy stuff. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was along the lines of, "Get the heck out of here. Get out of my car before I cut off your face and make you eat it." The crazy screaming and box cutter combo worked. She grabbed blindly at the handle and popped open the door. Yet I started shoving and punching her until she tumbled out of the door to the curb. I stomped on the gas, got to the next turn, and squealed around it with the passenger door still open. I made a few more turns because I was afraid that the green car might catch up to me. After a little while, I stopped to close the passenger door. Then I cut across town and got into the highway to go home. I was on the highway for about 5 minutes before the shake started. I pulled off to the shoulder to calm down and get my stuff together, and I drove home. I told my sister, I was living with her temporarily after the breakup with my ex, everything that happened. She wrapped me in a tight bear hug while simultaneously yelling about how stupid I was for not going to the police. I've never been so glad to be yelled at in my life.
That's creep.
That's it.
I think so. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Dude, that's... What do you do in that situation? I mean,
I wouldn't have let her in the car anyways.
but like, props to her for like thinking very like quickly on the spot like that. Like remembering, like most people, I feel like their mind just goes blank
Mm-hmm.
and they just start listening to what the person's saying. You know,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you don't know what they're capable of, whether it's like physical strength or like something on their person. Like they could have a knife or a gun or something. I called it too. I said, that's sus, because like, what if she's really planning to do something? You know, that's
It's kind of right off the start.
as soon as you see something like that, you kind of just want to get in your car and before they can even approach you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy approach me at the gas station on a bike. He was homeless. Shout out to Joe, my guy Joe. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's happened recently. It was at a racetrack. I had $20 for gas, and I used up like $10 of gas, and then I used the other 10 to go buy him food, like drinks and shit. Shout out to Joe. Pretty cool. Anyway, yeah. I don't know, man. I also feel like in a situation like that, trying to get into the woman's perspective there, like it makes sense. You want to be able to help out another woman if she's in trouble like that, but at the same time, like,
But I feel like, didn't the other woman also say like, oh, like I just got in the car with my boyfriend?
yeah, something like
What
that.
if she knew her situation, that she had just left her ex?
That vulnerability of the situation, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it could have been. I don't know. There's a lot like I mean, you can play out any way. Like me personally, I was in that situation. I think I'm too nice. Like, I think I would take her home. Like I would probably let her in the car.
Me personally, I'm a mom. I just can't trust her.
That's true. Like I wouldn't trust her or anything, but like, and like knowing what's in my car, I'd be like, I'd be like, yeah, you know, like you live nearby. If it's nearby, I'm like, okay, sure. If those motherfuckers start following, I actually think I would like speed up and just drive crazy. Like I wouldn't even at that point I wouldn't even care if I hurt myself or got into an accident. Because at that point it's like if I get into an accident, it's usually most likely with another vehicle, more people around, and we're like, yo, these people are following me, and I got this crazy bitch. You know, I think my chances of surviving are a lot higher, regardless. Like I think if I get into an accident, it wouldn't be anything crazy, but at least I'd draw the attention from people around me.
Mm-hmm.
The area we live in, I feel like let me just go 10 miles over, and I think a couple stopped me in like 5 minutes. So it's like I think it's fine. I think it.
Make a complete stop at the
Yeah, pretty much. Dude, that was so dumb. I didn't want to get into that. The ticket that I got, like the second ticket that I got, was because I didn't have my seatbelt on, which was fine. I mean, yeah, I should have put it on as soon as I got in the car, but I didn't put it on until after I started driving. But he pulled me over because of a rolling stop. I said, how could you have known I did a rolling stop when I was behind the sign? It was at the mall. And so the exit of the mall, the sign is like, this is the sign,
Mm-hmm.
and the stop is like right here. I'm like, how could you have seen me do a rolling stop if you're all the way over? He was by the entrance of the park. So I'm like, how could you have seen me do a rolling stop? And then he was like, look, he didn't. I don't remember what he said. He was like, and you're also not wearing a seatbelt. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. You can write me up for not wearing my seatbelt, but you're not gonna write me up for rolling stop because you didn't see me do a rolling stop.
Yeah.
So he gave me a ticket for my seatbelt. Luckily, he was super chill, so he's like, "I'll give you a ticket for that. I'm gonna write you up for that." But because it's stationary, he wrote it up as stationary, so it doesn't add points to my license. So I was like, okay, I'll allow it. That's fine. Anyways,
This is a real story
I know,
that
I
has
can
absolutely traumatized me and my boyfriend. 2 years ago, I moved to the UK for university, as I always wanted to go there and get away from my parents, as the situation at home
They
was
look
beginning
so
to
creepy.
become too toxic for me. In my first year at university, I moved into student accommodation and met some really great people. It was a good year, without meeting my boyfriend, who I'm still with, and just enjoying my time away from my family and discovering what independence really meant. Anyhow, as the second year came by, I decided with some friends to move into a house rented by student accommodations, but at least we had our own house and weren't restricted as much with noise and parties as living in a small shared flat like in the first year. Note: I had a ground floor room and my window gave into a very small backyard in which I would go smoke every day, as I am a smoker, and in which there would be a very thin wooden door giving into the other side of the street, where you would put your bins and broken chairs. The door could only be closed and locked from inside the backyard, but since it was an old door, we had to attach some things to keep it closed for good. I had neighbors on each side of the house, so we were surrounded by families and some other student accommodations. The neighbors on the right of us were 5 boys who looked way over the age of being in university. They were strange, so to say. I met one of them outside of our house one day because of a police intervention, due to one of his flatmates attacking him and the others with a kitchen knife and burning their kitchen down. I heard some screams, and so I went outside with my flatmates and saw one of them being covered in blood and cuts everywhere on his arm, and a wound on his head inflicted by a kitchen knife. I and my flatmates didn't know what to do, so we offered him help to clean himself up and gave him an old t-shirt to change out his bloody clothes. We then saw the guy who hurt these flatmates being escorted out by the police and into a van and driven off to be arrested. I don't know anything more about the story. The police didn't really tell us anything. Anyway, the guy who we helped was quite weird. He said a lot of BS and kept trying to grab me and flirt with me, and we noticed when helping him he smoked quite a lot of weed, but we just didn't really care at the moment, as we wanted to make sure he was alright, as we didn't know him. Then after some time had passed, I would go to uni and come back home and see him quite often in the street, and just never say a word to him again. But one day he came up to me in the street while I was going to the corner shop and started talking to me weirdly, and I didn't feel comfortable at all with it for some reason, so I just didn't respond. He then said, that's okay. I'll just wait in front of your house then, and we can talk further. No need to say, I was insanely creeped out and just thought he was joking, so I bought my drink at the shop and headed back to my street. And as I turned into the street where my house was, I saw him with his flatmate sitting on my doorstep and waiting for me. So I panicked and went back to the corner shop and called my only guy flatmate to ask him to open the door and tell the guys to go away. But obviously he wasn't home, as no one else was either. So I literally just waited it out until they left 1 hour later, and then sprinted back home and locked the front door. Note: my front door had a glass panel on it where you would be able to kind of make out who was standing in front of it. As this was already pretty scary, I just tried to avoid the guy and mostly succeeded for a little while. But then one day, as I went smoking into the backyard, I noticed that the wooden floor, which is always closed, was open, and the strings that we put there to keep it closed were cut off. For whatever reason, I didn't think anything of it and just closed the door again and put a new string on it, thinking it was one of my flatmates who took the bins out and just didn't tie it back. The weird neighbors would very often scream and yell and fight in their house, and it would wake me and my flatmates up in the middle of the night, but we kind of got used to it after a little while. But one evening, my boyfriend slept over like he usually does, and he, who usually never wakes up because of a noise, woke up in the middle of the night because of a bang and some whispering. I was sound asleep, so he very silently woke me up, and we both just waited in the dark and listened for any other noises. Suddenly, we heard the wooden door just bang, just shoot right open, and some footsteps next to my window. I always had my window open because it would get really warm in there, so we both just froze. Then we heard the door leading to the backyard get shaken softly as if they were trying to get inside, and then they stopped. Luckily, we had the curtains closed so they couldn't see us, but we were ready to get dressed and get the heck out of the room and lock them in if they came in from the window. Then we just heard my window move and get more open, and one of the guys said something in a different language that we didn't understand, and started to hear them trying to get in. My boyfriend and I just shot up out of the bed, took my phone, put clothes on, and ran out of the room and out of the house. So I then called my flatmates and told them to lock themselves in their rooms, and then the police, who luckily came in less than 5 minutes, as the headquarters were a couple of streets down from us. I don't remember anything else after the police came. I think my boyfriend and I were in shock. They ended up catching one guy. The other fled and was later found a few streets up smoking weed. The police told us they went inside of their house and found a lot of meth and heroin, and that they were actually just carrying a massive kitchen knife with them. I was so confused, as I've never done anything to offend or do anything wrong to my neighbors, so the idea of them breaking in with who knows what intentions with a kitchen knife terrorized me and my boyfriend. The two guys ended up being arrested, and one of them was put in prison for 2 years for carrying a weapon with the intention to harm. I never heard anything else from the police, and I moved back home a few months later as I was scared, and it tormented me for months on end, not knowing what would have happened if my boyfriend didn't wake up. I'm now still coping with it and finding it really tough to get over it. Always asking myself what if and what would have happened if. I now very often wake up because of the slightest noise and get horrible nightmares because of it. But hey, at least I'm still with my boyfriend and we often talk about it, and that helps a lot.
Oof. Pretty bad, man. That's you see, that's one thing. Like when with my ex, we argued quite a bit over is her staying in like dorms and shit when she went to college. So I'll tell them like I'm like, you know how dangerous that is. You know how like reckless it is. Because truthfully speaking, she's very easily influenced by the people around her, and that was something that always caused conflict in our relationship. And so I'm like, you're gonna be staying in a dorm with people doing that do who knows what. You're staying with strangers. It's already like I don't know how anyone could ever do that ever. Staying in the same room with a stranger you never met, especially in that time of your life, that age of your life, where like they're having fun. You can have fun, go to parties, do this, do that, but like then you're getting into crowds where like there's drugs. You know what they're trying to do. Yeah. Especially guys in college, like they're so reckless and they just hookups and drugs and all this and that. Like it's just so like not safe. And then on top of that, like shit like this, like dorms are probably the least secure place to be, in my opinion. Yeah, they have like campus security, or whatever, but like I just feel like it's probably the least. Like I'd rather be in a ghetto neighborhood than in a dorm. Like I'm more likely to get harmed in a dorm than a ghetto neighborhood. Like I just it's just so, and it would always cause like when we talk about it, it caused conflict, like just like argument because like she'd be so excited for like the whole like party and this and that. I'm like, just don't get it. You're going to school. You're going to school. Like you're supposed to be there to study and graduate and get a good job, start a career, get a degree. But it's actually really sad because like thinking back on it, like anytime she did talk about it, all she would talk about is being excited for parties and shit. I'm like, I should have known. I should have like seen it. I should have seen it. Straight up, I should have seen it. Like, who says that?
During
This
college,
last one
I dated a
is
fairly
half the
well-known and talented local musician named Tim. As horrible boyfriends tend to do in the beginning, he was a loving, attentive, charismatic, seemingly normal partner. He made me mixtapes, cooked me my favorite meals, and dedicated songs to me at open mics around town. I, young, foolish, naive, was deeply smitten by his mysterious, dark, artistic allure. However, over the course of our year-long relationship, his mental health severely declined. He had the ability to appear lucid and normal around other people, but in private he began suffering delusions, compulsively lying, and creating art that focused on themes of rape and murder. I was worried sick and his condition was exhausting, but I did my best to be kind, understanding, and supportive. I loved him and believed that he shouldn't have to struggle with his mental illness alone. One time he vanished without a trace for a full day. I found his apartment empty, lights on, front door wide open, phone on his nightstand. I took a few deep breaths and called all around the city for hours before finally discovering he had been involuntarily checked into a mental hospital. I did my best to be strong for him, seeing him every day during supervised visitation hour, bringing him his favorite books to pass the time, and holding him as he cried that it was all a mistake, that he did not belong there. It was surreal to see my gentle, intelligent, normal, albeit depressed boyfriend surrounded by visibly insane, long-term psychiatric ward patients. For real, the place was like something out of a horror movie. In retrospect, none of the staff ever told me the real reason why he was there, and I was too polite and naive to ask. Our relationship ended a few months later. I found undeniable evidence that he was cheating on me and, secretly relieved, confronted him. I told him to leave my apartment and never come back. He cracked. The gentle Tim I had known and loved melted away to reveal a new persona with dead wild animal eyes. He threatened to kill someone unless I took him back, but I was so extremely done that I called the police. They weren't much help, but Tim left. I blocked him everywhere and never contacted him again, but he left me insane voicemails from different numbers for weeks afterwards. I was relatively unshaken and things returned to normalcy. I graduated and got a sweet job in the same cool college city. 6 months later, I woke up to concerned texts from my mutual friends saying that they didn't want to freak me out, but Tim was off his meds, clearly manic, and was posting a nearly written song all over social media. His best friend, who hadn't been in touch since before the breakup, sent me an apology along with a screenshot of the lyrics. That got my attention. I won't copy-paste them here because they'll lead back to his Bandcamp, but the song was pretty explicitly about my assault and murder, but in a sort of clever disguised way. It's catchy too, that bastard. I checked his profiles myself from a
Arrange you in shades of feminine red, a massive piece on the floor, so you'll never have to walk away or reach for the handle of your door. No more post to race with fear, no more breath to waste. Oh, no. Just a beautiful frozen portrait in a place where the shadows grow.
Fucking wild, man. Nah, honestly, me personally, bro, cutting off everybody. All the mutual friends, you're done and you're you don't exist no more. New phone number, move back in with my parents, or move out, move somewhere else, different state, different city, whatever, right? Within,
Change name.
like, I would honestly just like, I just drop everything. Be like, alright, I'm done. I'm not doing this shit. Just did, you know,
friend's account, and he was posting dozens and dozens of totally insane rambling statuses, most of them about me. They flip-flop between flowery love prose and murder imagery. His friends were reacting with concern, but a few egged him on, probably thinking he was just venting. I decided it'd be best to continue ignoring him, but I saved screenshots just in case. A few days later, while at work, I looked up from my computer to see Tim enter the far side of the studio. My blood turned ice. He was talking to my creative director. It looked cordial enough, and I saw Tim begin to casually scan the studio. I ducked down and bolted into my favorite project manager's office, slammed the door, and unleashed upon her what must have been a nearly unintelligible explanation of what was happening. I was shaking so hard I could barely speak, but Nancy was amazing. She understood almost immediately. She snuck me out of the building and drove me in her car to the police station, where I showed officers the screenshots and filed a report. My coworkers later told me that Tim was there to inquire about the open designer position. But he is not a designer. He had brought with him a portfolio and an elaborately fabricated work history that sounded legit. At the end of his interview, he casually asked if I still worked there. He said we used to collaborate. Oh, and he had written a song for me, and it had been picked up by the local radio this morning. He asked my coworkers to let me know with warmest regards. That phrase still makes my skin crawl. He then left, found my abandoned car in the parking lot, and paced behind it until the police arrived. Unfortunately, he wasn't enough of a public menace for police to bring him in that day, but the incident helped me to secure a restraining order against him. My company was amazing too. I was deeply embarrassed about my literally insane ex coming to the studio, but the CEO filed trespassing charges against him and created an action plan to keep me safe if it happened again. Not long afterwards, I moved to a different city, and that was that. I haven't heard from him since,
Now, me
but
personally,
I discovered the
I think I move houses, change my phone number, cut off those people. But like, if the company I work for is that understanding and that much willing to like work with the situation, I think I stick around.
Mhm.
Like a few months later, you're moving. I feel like that's kind of like it feels too fresh and recent. Where your company's like, yeah, we're doing this for you, and you're leaving. Like, no, I think I stick around and like just have. I mean, I understand you want to get away from that because then you're always looking. You're always, looking over your shoulder. But I mean,
Because at the end of the day, the trespassing thing is basically an invisible line.
yeah. I mean, because like it all helps. But at the end of the day, knowing that you're still within some vicinity, like you're still the chance you come across them at the store or some shit. I would say the restraining order helps though, and like trespassing helps because like as soon as he's within a certain proximity, like all right,
How did he find out that she is in this city?
I don't know, man, that shit's creepy. It's weird.
Obviously, the mutual.
Yeah, I don't understand why these people like they're just as bad as he is because they're like supporting him with the stuff that he's putting out. Like even if it's just him venting, like dude, why are you putting that out for people to hear? Like that's just psychotic. And then on top of that, the people that like are trying to be good friends, like you're just I don't know, you're giving this like what's it called? You can't be friends with both of them and take both sides. Like, it just doesn't work.
Most alarming part after. His roommate at the time, Liz, went through a similar experience with him during his breakdown, and when we compared notes much later, she said she had seen a large axe in Tim's car the same week it had all calmed down. She said that she was worried about Tim's Facebook activity, so she removed the axe and hid it. Tim was so angry that he completely trashed their house and never came back. And if our timelines are correct, that must have been just before he came into my workplace for his interview. I had a stalker from Xbox Live try to find me at work
This
2 days
thing
ago
reads as 4.
on Monday.
This is Liz.
I'm only 17 and work second shift at my local movie theater. It was Friday night, my weekend had just begun. I was on Xbox Live and playing Overwatch, eating now cold pizza like lots of my friends were. I was kicking considerable ass more than I usually was at this game, and I was on fire for non-Overwatch players. It basically means you're doing really good for 3 matches. At around 2 AM, I decided to step up my game and go into competitive mode. I got into a match at Kings Row, and I was playing fair on defense. I got a 15-player kill streak, but I noticed 5 of those kills were on the same guy, a Bastion. I remember his username. The match goes on for about another minute, and then I get an invite to a party. The gamer tag was the same as the Bastion I just killed for the 6th time. I wasn't in the party since all of my friends had called it a night except for me at that point. I decided that whatever he wanted to say could be interesting, so I added him. Now, I usually expect some kids a few years younger than me to be shit-talking me, but to my surprise, it was a grown man on the other end. More to my surprise, he sounded in his 30s rather than closer to my age, and he had a thick Spanish accent. Immediately, this guy starts cussing me out. I can't lie when I say I half expected this to happen when I got a party invite. Now I have the mentality where if you're a jerk to me, I'll return the favor, so I reply with the classic, "Oh, you mad, bro?" Guy doesn't acknowledge what I say at all, and instead of saying that he would screw my mom like most people do, they said, "Screw your entire family. I'll make sure to decapitate your mother and make your dad screw her down the throat." I was sort of shocked by this, but it didn't last. I told him to take a chill pill. "No, I want you to..." And he stopped. I noticed why. A diva on our team had just killed his Bastion hero again. Now, this is where things get scary. It sounded as if he turned into a rabid animal that was trying to suffocate itself on the mic and screaming and howling and spitting all at the same time. It's difficult to describe what exactly sound he was making, but that's the closest I can do. Inhumane noises were coming from this person as if he was being gutted and possessed by a demon at the same time. It was a grown man too, which made the entire thing scary compared to laughing my butt off when a 12-year-old loses it. The match ended. The enemy team that didn't get the payload moving at all. The man loses his stuff some more because he lost. Then I decide to be a jerk again and not take this clearly crazy guy's shit. Look man, it's not my fault you suck at this game. You're just being treated like the child you really are, so just grow up. Guy didn't like this. He literally screamed at the top of his lungs, "F you," into the microphone for no joke like 20 seconds. It started getting all crackly. He was being so loud he was breaking his mic. He then removed me from the party. I decided that since the match was over, I decided to call it a night, just like my friends had. My overall reaction to what went down was, okay, that was something. I logged out and turned off my Xbox and went to bed. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I realized how much of a dummy I was for not recording any of it. My friends would have lost it when they heard it. Then I fell asleep. Saturday went by with nothing, and I thought that was that with the weird Spanish dude. Sunday was after Saturday, and I logged onto my Xbox that morning to
Sunday
play
was
Overwatch.
after Saturday.
I noticed I had a message from the guy saying, "Good morning," with my full name, and I know you have to go to insert address of the movie theater I work at tomorrow. What the heck? I said aloud. I decided to pull out my phone and take a picture of the TV screen. I then texted my boss about it and told her that some guy on Xbox somehow found where I worked. Now, my boss is a weird old lady, so she naturally didn't care what happened. Even though it concerned my work, she just blew it off and told me I still had to come in the next day. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and The Incredibles 2 are both hot right now, so we were going to be busy. I ended up coming in the next day at 5:30. It was pretty boring and busy like I predicted. Up until about 8 o'clock when a super short guy came in through the door. It was loud and pretty crowded, but the guy hollers my name. The same thick Spanish accent from Xbox. It was him. I still to this day don't know where he got my info from or why he decided to come all the way to where I worked. The theater fell silent. I just walked to the back room where my boss was and told her that the guy from Xbox was inside. She repeated the whole, "I don't care what happens to you on the game. Get back to work. We're busy." I repeated to tell her that the guy was inside the building. I didn't know if he wanted to hurt me or not and that I was going to call the cops. I ended up actually calling the police. It wasn't until they arrived and spoke to me privately in the back room that my boss ended up taking me seriously. The Spanish guy was still inside the lobby and the cops put him in cuffs and walked him out. This is according to my boss. I was in the back room so I couldn't witness it. I still haven't heard anything from the police and I still don't know how he found my info or why he came all the way to where I worked. And I still don't know what he planned to do to me. Either way, I'm still a bit shaken up over it. I don't know if he knows my home address or not, and I'm pretty much on guard 24/7. Either way, I own 2 dogs that can scare off anyone, but I'm still terrified of this dude.
That's creepy. But like, that's also why, like, when I play games, I'll talk shit. But as soon as like it gets down to like real, I don't know, I talk shit the whole time. But and I never worry about things like that. But it is a thought that crosses my mind.
How the fuck did you find her info?
I don't know exactly how it works, but I know it's possible. Like, it's not that difficult if you know what you're doing with like computers. Like
the
looking
IP
up,
address?
like yeah, like you can look up somebody's username, and just with that information, you can find out like their Xbox. Xbox has like an ID, and then you can like pretty much find the IP address also, because that's also information that's on the Xbox. Once you connect to the Wi-Fi, your IP address is right there. Which is why streamers use VPNs, and but that's also how they get swatted. It's like people in the chat would just find out where they live with like IP address, and then just call the cops and say some crazy shit like there's like a kidnapping or some shit at the house, and they get swatted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's crazy, man. But I mean, if you're shit at the game, just go play. Like, just a fact. But that's going to wrap it up for that one, guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment down below what your favorite part was. Make sure to go check out my links on the description below for my other channels, as well as my Kick, where I stream. I stream pretty much daily right now. Um, Again, shout out to my sister for popping out for these videos. Really appreciate it. But yeah, love y'all. Have a good day. Have a good night. Whatever it may be for you. And as always, I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.